Afternoon all, we'll call the February 19, 2025 meeting of Greenwood Board of Public Works and Safety to order at 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please. Amanda.
Mr. Kaufman?
Here.
Mr. Hoover?
Here.
Mr. Rutherford?
Here.
The minutes of our last meeting of February 3, 2025 were distributed to members of the board. Is there any corrections, additions, or deletions from staff? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval as presented?
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next on our agenda is Adam Stone, but I don't see him either online or in person.
He will be online. He's not there yet.
Okay, we'll come back to, we'll next move on to Mr. Petty.
Good evening.
Evening.
Just here tonight to request approval to work with legal on a contract with Christie's of Indiana for a vehicle auction and for approval of the auction list.
We've all been presented a list of 9 vehicles. Any questions?
I'll move for approval. I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next up. Mr. Napier. Fill in, huh?
Fill in.
Okay.
I'm Greg Booth, the street department assistant supervisor, superintendent. The street department wants to come before the Board of Public Works and Safety tonight to ask for approval to enter in a contract with Forest Commodities to have them grind at our limb site while our tub grinder is down for repairs. The cost of this is a two-part charge, is a destination cost, which is delivery, setup, and travel permits, which is about $2,000. As well as the actual on-site grinding time, which is estimated to be about 10 to 12 hours at the cost of $985 an hour.
How long do you think we'll have to have that?
They're hoping to have that approximately 10 to 12 hours for the actual job itself. So at the most, I'd say a day and a half, 2 days.
Is it our grinder that's down?
Yes, our grinder is down.
Is it gonna come back into service at some point?
Yes.
So-
The parts right now are approximately 6 to 8 weeks out, but we've got to have a limb site over there cleared out before then. It's about time for our season to get started.
Okay, so we need to use that grinder, replacement grinder, more than the 10 to 12 hours?
Our hope is not, but I can't answer that exactly.
Question for Greg?
I move that we approve the request. Second.
Further discussion? And then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll tell Jack you did a good job. Ms. Best.
Good evening, gentlemen. Peter Fox is our insurance broker with McGriff, which is now McClellan Insurance. We're bringing the benefit contracts in front of you this evening for consideration and approval for the 2025-2026 plan year. So with our medical, dental, and vision insurance, there was a little shift in the medical, which we were able to use that to make up for the increase in the vision and the dental side of the premiums. So we were able to actually keep the premium deductions to the employees as we have since 2024. So there'll be no increase in that. All benefit summaries will stay the same. So basically it's seamless. We have our enrollment procedures to do, but there's no change in anything. With Mutual of Omaha, they do our voluntary life products, accident insurance, hospital indemnity insurance. They're on a 2-year rate pool, so we actually had a 2-year contract with them, so it's not up for renewal yet. We're going to stay with Principal for the dental, Anthem for the vision, as well as Anthem for the medical. The stop loss carrier, we're staying the same with stop loss carrier. And
The stop loss was a rate decrease this year. They're self-funded, so the reinsurance went down slightly by about 6 or 7%.
And this is all effective April 1.
April 1st, correct.
Questions for Lisa or Pierre? Sure. I would expect the employees to be happy with
Hopefully.
the cost increase.
I'd move for approval.
I'll second that. Further discussion? Is that a sufficient motion that you need for all of that? All encompassing? Okay,
Yeah, we need to just do what we can to get it approved and signed. I don't know if we can have anything signed by deputy mayor.
Yeah, just for clarity, will you include deputy mayor as the authorizing signatory?
sure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Put that in a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you both.
Adam is online whenever you're ready to call him.
Mr. Stone, let's go back to you. You've got some good news for us, I hope.
Yep, I do, and I do apologize. I'm just on my phone. Amanda, are you able to possibly share the page?
One moment. You just fill in for a minute. I'll get there.
Yep, sounds good. So we're here to provide our annual report with respect to the wastewater utility or the sewer utility, and we've made a adjustment to the presentation that I hope the board will find helpful. And we are moving it towards a live link so that you can really want to show how that looks today, and then we're happy to make any edits. And then what this will allow is we'll both be able to provide an update quarterly, but it'll make it to where if you have a project or you have a inquiry that you want to check on the status of the health of the utilities finances between the quarterly updates, you'll be able to have the ability to go see that in real time. The site that I'm going to show you here updates daily. So year to date as it goes, I'll be showing the 2024 values, but then shortly after the launch of this, we will start to support sort of current year to date reporting as well. So once Amanda can show this, my understanding is this email, the link was sent out to all of you as well.
It was, yes.
Okay, great.
I'm getting there.
You're fine.
Maybe we go with some awesome.
Or we can skip ahead to the next thing on the agenda if that's okay.
Yeah, I've got to reset the password, but it's being difficult.
Mr. Lindstrom, can we jump to you? From Crystal Lakes, one of the nicest neighborhoods in continental USA.
If we were selling lots, Kevin, I think they'd be lining up.
Yeah. I think you got the last one, didn't you?
Hey, John Lundstrom, Crystal Lakes HOA. We had our annual meeting about 5 weeks ago. And one thing that came up is residents voiced a concern at the intersection of Dogwood Lane and Bayside Drive. It's actually a two-way stop where Dogwood, or let's go north and south there, has the stop signs. Bayside Drive has the free pass to continue through. And mostly from people when it's nicer weather out walking, what have you. I've seen numerous close calls there. One of our residents contacted engineering. Mr. Pat came out and took a look at the situation. And really, one of the bigger concern there is if you're going south on Dogwood Lane, there is a line of sight issue where that comes around a bit of a sharp bend there. And with that homeowner, they chronically have cars parked in their driveway and so forth. It's difficult to see the oncoming traffic coming from your left. So we were requesting to have 2 more stop signs in to make it a 4-way stop there. Engineering came out, took a look at it, agreed that that would be a suitable solution situation, and appearing here today to ask you guys to consider doing that.
Jim, is that
Yeah,
consistent?
that's
with your
correct. And
findings?
also, we kind of had concern with the school right there because, you know, you basically, it's hard to see and then also the people can just fly through there. So it's been, I think we've been lucky that we haven't had any.
There's a fair number of neighborhood walkers
Yeah.
that walk to Westwood and go through the backside there.
And then when we were out there, we did see a car blocking the line of sight was parked on it. So it's, and looking at all the other intersections of the subdivision, kind of questioning why this wasn't a four-way stop in the first place.
So you're recommending that,
that we go ahead and make it a four-way stop intersection.
questions for Jim, John?
I agree with that. I walked to their son. Bike to their son. It makes,
Is that a motion?
that's a motion. I move for approval.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you much.
Jim, how long does that take to get that accomplished?
I will get with our street department. Hey, street department, we can get a sign out tomorrow.
I mean, that's not a months down the road kind of thing.
The longest thing it's gonna take on something like that would be the locates, kind of at their mercy.
Yeah.
So put it down in the ground, they have to come out and mark everything.
They're not federal employees, so they haven't been furloughed yet. Okay, thanks. We ready to go back to that?
Yes. thank you.
Okay, Adam, let's go back to you then.
Very good. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Amanda, for sharing this and driving here. So this link, it recreates a lot of the information that was in the sort of historical PowerPoint presentation. So we will still come and do a formal quarterly because we have to do that per municipal code. But what we hope this would provide is the board more of a real-time view into the utilities. So the first chart there is actually comparing the revenue minus expenses. So green in this case is sort of like the net revenue or revenue after expenses. So you can see that over the last few years, it's been positive for 4 straight years, and specifically in the end of 2024, there was $12.9 million in positive cash flow from the utility. I will say that is on a cash basis, so that's not looking at billed, that's looking at actual cash collections. It's also not recognizing any sort of depreciation expense of the utility. So, and then Amanda, would you mind scrolling down? The next section looks at cash and investment balances. So you can sort of actually hover over that section and you can see how much of that is cash versus how much of that is invested. So both of those amounts have increased steadily over the last few years. And that is again caused by that cash flow that's being generated from that first chart. And then as you continue to scroll down through the site, it's tracking revenues and expenses year over year. So you can compare those. You can see the total revenues for 2024 versus the total expenses and how that compares to prior years and how the utility is doing from that perspective. And then I broke it down by customer type. So you can see how the total revenues are trending by category, specifically like residential, commercial, industrial. And then the pie graph below shows the amount by type for 2024. So in this case, if you hover over the large blue slice there, you can see that nearly 69%, almost 70% of all the collections came from residential. And then the next largest share is commercial. The other thing that I noted here was that actually, if you go back up the chart above, Amanda, please, you can actually see, like if you go hover over that light blue in 2021, you can see commercial, yep, the light blue. There you go. Commercial was about 24%. And then if we compare that to 2024, commercials actually increased by a few percent. And that's the first time since we have been tracking the utility, that we've seen the commercial actually outgrow as a percent the residential, which is good. And then if you scroll back down, please, I'll show you the rest of it here and open up any questions. So cash versus investment, you can see that below. City controller's done an excellent job really managing the investment portfolio for the city, and you can see how much of the utility funds are on hand, and that on both from a cash and an investment perspective, those investments are earning still pretty solid rates of return, and that's just continuing to make the utility more healthy and have a larger balance sheet to take on projects in the future. And that's the last section, is the capital projects. So it looks at by year and by project what is currently in the capital pipeline or in plan to be. So if you hover over those, you can see, specific projects, estimates as well. These do update. There's a process that the city goes through to sort of review those. We support that process and we update the data here accordingly. So this is a rolling capital improvement plan. So where all the other amounts are actuals, these are more estimates. So they are subject to change. But in any event, we wanted to make sure you had the latest and greatest information. And then I think the last thing we had under the table was, I believe we referenced so the planned projects just shows sort of how they're planning to finance different projects, whether by cash or bonds, as well as kind of a breakdown of the current year from type. And then I believe that's the end of the report. So if there's anything else that you would like included, just email me. I'm happy to modify this further to make sure we get it completely fine-tuned for your preference. But I'm hopeful that this is viewed positively and just provides more transparency into the utilities finances. And then to the extent between now and our next quarterly update, which will be sometime in April to review the first quarter 2025 results, this will provide you all essentially a permanent link that updates as a kind of a monthly status as well. With that, that's all I have. Thank you, Amanda. I'm happy to take any questions or feedback on the new report.
Adam, when does this go on the website? Assuming it does.
Yeah, I think we'll still need to work through the city as far as how they want to share that. It is something we can look at and report back. As far as right now, today, we're sharing it sort of on a limited basis with this agenda, but I'll confer with the city and see how they want to share that. A lot of this information is already publicly disclosed. It's just more kind of tailored for this specific use.
Questions for Adam? Comments?
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Adam.
My pleasure. I hope you all have a good evening. Thank you so much. Good luck with the rest of your agenda.
Thanks.
Next on our agenda is Greg Venter from Lennar Preserves at South Lake. Greg, are you with us?
This is Todd Wilkerson with Lennar. I'm here for Greg.
Okay. What are we doing on the Preserve at South Lake?
Releasing the maintenance bonds out there.
And Jim, everything is
Yeah, the
satisfactory?
release of the maintenance bonds for the sidewalks, we've gone out and inspected it, and everything is in proper condition. So we have no issue with releasing those.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now we'll move on next to, I'm assuming you're filling for Greg again on the trails at South Lake, right?
Yep, same thing.
And Jim, same
We
recommendation.
inspected and they're in great condition and have no problem with it.
Move for approval.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We've got another one, well, maybe a couple more. This first one is Grand Vista Amenity Center. What are we doing there?
Hi. Thought I can take this one if you'd like. Hi, I'm Megan Irving.
Okay,
with
Megan.
American. I'm Megan Irving with American Structure Point. On this one, that pond you see there on the screen was installed with section 1 of the subdivision, and the amenity center is going to go just east of the pond there. So the playground and parking area for that amenity center is going to run over top of that existing outlet pipe from the pond. So we're encroaching in the drainage easement there.
So I make sure I'm on the right one.
This is their pool and everything, parking lot, playground. We've got a 21-inch concrete sewer, storm sewer, drain these ponds. So the encroachment is they're just gonna have parking and their playground over it. So basically what we're saying is, okay, we need to reach a encroachment agreement that says, okay, if anything happens to that storm sewer, as well as if they're doing work, they have to come in and replace it. If for some reason we need to get in there, they'll need to remove everything and put everything back at their expense. And the same thing if any utilities need to get in there. So, you know, we're not really a real concern. I think our John's like, he didn't give it favorable or not favorable. He's like, guys.
Is that parking lot going to be permanent? Is that?
Yeah, that parking lot's gonna be permanent, so is the playground. And since that's gonna be reinforced concrete pipe that's existing, you know, the odds of it getting damaged are slim to none.
Jinx it.
Yeah, knock on wood here. So that was the request.
Questions for Jim or questions for Megan?
The only concern I would have is if they put fences in around the playground area, to fence that playground in, which I assume they will, since there is
they'll
a
have to
pond there.
make sure that they don't. The way the layout is, doesn't look like they'll get into it, so it's not running along it, but it'll cross perpendicular to it. So they'll have to go and make sure, dig up and pothole to see where that storm sewer is.
Yeah, they need definitely.
They start sinking post in.
Yeah, that would be my only concern, is have them do that prior to the construction.
You might do that have that requirements typically for anything that does encroach, whether it's
Yes.
that including the fence.
So again, I think we, you know, like we said, need an approach agreement and, you know, just basically what I had discussed before, you know, if there's any damage to it or anything they have to repair it at their expense, if we need to get in there and dig up the parking lot or playground to make repairs,
So
they have to.
a regular routine.
Right, we're not gonna pay for replacing it.
Megan, are you okay with that?
Yes.
I would move we approve the request for the encroachment subject to those conditions as outlined.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, we're still in Grand Vista, section 4, just a monument issue. Greg, are you doing that? Or Todd, I guess, should I say, are you doing that or Megan?
Megan, do you want to do it or I can?
Go ahead, Todd.
So this is just a platting of an existing property that we've taken over from the Premier Land Group that's platting out that southeast corner for the Taylor's property there.
So we're accepting the monument, or being asked to accept the monuments, make
Yep.
these for that, and execute the final plat. Is that the plat you've got there?
Yes.
And that's recommendation in line with your office is to do.
I move for approval.
I'll second that. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank
Todd,
you guys for your
anything to
time.
let you off the hook? Bob Megan. Next, let's go to Michael Morgan from the Pulte Group, talk about Sagebriar.
Good evening, board. How are you tonight?
Good evening, we're well, how are you?
Doing well. Hey, I just asking for the acceptance of the performance guarantees for the Sagebriar by Del Webb Section 1A model home parking lots.
This is when maybe I had a question that at some point I'm thinking that will no longer be a model home, and so the parking lot will be removed.
That is correct. Once we basically, I would say it'll be a model until the very end of the development. Then we'll end up tearing out the parking lots. Then they'll be sold as lots.
Okay, so the performance guarantees that we would require would be not only the installation, but also the removal of that, whenever that might be. Is there any, that could be years.
Yes.
Theoretically.
That is correct.
Is our guarantees, is there any issue about expiration of the guarantees?
It would stay in place until we release it.
Further questions or any questions for Mr. Morgan? It's a pleasure of the board.
I move that we approve the acceptance of the performance guarantees.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thanks,
Mike.
everyone. Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too. Next, we're gonna talk to Sean Kofer, Project Boilermaker.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, this one's been lingering for a long time. So this is a Project Boilermaker. Was the Pitney Bowes Nugistics building, and we're asking for the release of the maintenance bonds this evening.
We've done the inspection. The
Yeah, we've done the
sidewalks and
inspection
everything's
of the
okay.
streets and sidewalks and satisfied the condition of them.
I move that we release the bonds.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. That was an easy one, Sean.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next, we're gonna talk about Becknell Industrial at South Tech Park Building 3, Lot 3.
Yes, thank you. My name's Blair Carmesino with Becknell Industrial, seeking release of maintenance bonds associated with the next two items. South Tech Business Park at Main and Graham. I believe one is sidewalk and one is a drive extension.
Let's do Building 3, Lot 3 first. Again, that's, Jim, that's in line with your recommendation.
Yes, the streets and sidewalks we did inspected and satisfied with the condition.
I move that we release the maintenance guarantees for those.
Second.
Let's give that to Mr. Rutherford. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Then the next one is for the driveway extension. Questions
The
about
next one is for the sanitary sewer.
for the Southway Drive extension side, I'm sorry.
Yeah, release for the sanitary sewer has been inspected and still is in condition that it's supposed to operate at.
Okay.
You happy? He's happy, so.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. Next, anyone in the audience wish to address us, either here in person or online? Hearing none, we'll move on to Corporation Council status of text.
First item I have for consideration is a professional services agreement with Highlands Advertising Public Relations to provide communications and event assistance regarding the 2025 State of the City address in the amount of $16,400. It's substantially similar to the one from last year.
This is tomorrow, correct?
Yeah.
Preparatory work to that. Questions, Chris, anything on this? I'll move for approval.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes.
Next item is the 2024 Title VI Annual Report for consideration.
Questions on that? I didn't have just the end.
Yes.
Make a motion to accept the report.
Yeah, I move as we accept the report. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next thing I have is the contract for services with Otto's Parking Marketing Company to perform walking trail along Honey Creek Road from Cutsinger to Emery Road, repairs and maintenance. About $10,930. This is another sidewalk contract that's part of the general obligation bonds.
Didn't know autos did that.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Motion passes. That it?
That's it.
Thank you. Jim, what all you got to wait tonight?
All right, first thing is we're requesting authorization for the mayor to prepare or sign a sanitary sewer service special agreement for Greenwood Village South and also Sage Briar for their amenity area and section 10.
Hopefully authorize the mayor or the deputy mayor on those. Is there a motion to approve those?
So
Second, for discussion. Say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
So let's see, next item is authorization and approval of our change order number 2 for our 2024 annual paving project. Basically, we go through all the quantities and make everything correspond with what was billed out there. The final contract amount for this project was $1,632,847.56, which was $469,331.24 below what we had estimated. So we're just asking for your acceptance of this. This change order will be signed by the mayor and myself.
Just so I'm clear on this, this is a change order requesting a reduction of $469,000.
Yes.
So,
move for approval.
Second.
further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion
The next one is the 2023 Community Crossings Mill and Overlay Project. Again, this one came under budget, $209,640.17. So that'll be a change order deducting that amount and just requesting your approval for the mayor and I to sign this change order.
And Jim, just as a note, we've got a policy in place that if the mayor can be a designee to sign, that the deputy mayor can sign in his place as well. So, any discussion on this? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Then all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. That's a walk, right?
Paul had a few things that's not on the agenda. First one is our 2025 annual paving project. There's a list of projects that we have worked with my street department, the mayor's office, Kevin, to come up with lists and alternates, and also in here is also paving, I believe, 2 of the parking lots, and we have an alternate for those. So the budget is $1.6 million. So we're just asking your approval to go ahead and send this one out for bid. And once we get the bids in, we'll come before you to make our recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pass.
Now this one is Paul's being very detail oriented.
You're kidding, Paul.
We, the 2024 Community Crossings project, which we went out for bid. Howard Company was the successful bidder. You agreed to allow the mayor and deputy mayor enter into a contract with them. One thing that Paul said, I don't think I ever asked for permission to go out for bid for this project. And he's just wants to cross the T's and dot the I's. So he's requesting approval to bid this project.
So it sounds like soon you're gonna tell us, it's already,
I think it'd be ratification that they've already processed.
Yeah, I agree. So moved.
second. Further discussion? Say aye.
Aye.
Big ratification.
Okay, then the next one we have is Pendleton. I'm not sure individuals here are on the phone. This is out at 1493 Molnix Road. This is outside the city limits, but it's within our sanitary sewer district. They're requesting to connect into our sanitary sewer. There is a sanitary lateral stub this property. So basically what we're asking for the staff to be able to prepare a single parcel special sewer service agreement on this connection.
Which we typically want to take those a lot, but what's checklist C?
Let's check by C.
Check the C, so that they have to give, as part of that sanitary sewer special agreement, they have to give a copy of their plat. They have to give the drawing of where the sanitary lateral will go. And then, I don't know exactly which one's checklist C, that's Paul's domain, but yeah, it's just part of that packet that we get for every sanitary sewer special.
Well, I just never get to talk specifically about
Yeah, so this particular property, there are two parcels. One has an existing home. The gentleman bought the property next door, which is a vacant lot. There, the existing home is currently on the septic. They will have to come off the septic for him to build his home on that lot. So the neighborhood behind them knew that in advance and stubbed out laterals for both of them. So we have capacity. Both laterals are in place, ready to be connected. So just need your approval to prepare those documents.
Other questions? Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Then the last thing that I want to add to the agenda, and this just came to me this afternoon. We are working on, obviously, the Smith Valley Road, the two roundabouts, Everett and also Woodman. We've been working with the utility companies, Duke, everybody to get all their utilities out of the way. At Woodman, there is a water line that's in their easement that we had to move to be able to facilitate this improvements. Right now, we have not really idea how deep it is and how if it's going to conflict. So at this point, we're working with Indiana American Water. What's the worst case if we actually have to dig it up and move it out of the way? So this would be a reimbursable agreement to the utility company. And so they've given us an estimate of $62,500. As the project proceeds, we'll have once we go in there and just what we call potholing, digging up locations of the water line and seeing where it is and see if we can adjust are designed to avoid it or minimize the relocation. But right now, this is kind of like the worst case that we're thinking. So we're talking to Craig. I asked if we need to bring it before this board, and he agreed. And then the next question is how we're going to pay for it. And Craig discuss that.
Amount what?
Go out on the bonds. That's how we're doing that whole project.
What's the amount? I know you told me
$62,500.
So we will pay that.
Yes.
Upfront. And it may not. it
I
may
think
be- some of it may get reimbursed.
usually what the utility companies like Duke, once they get all the improvements in, then they send us a bill. So I'm not exactly sure how Indiana American Water work, but I think it's going to be the same situation.
Is there approval for this procedure?
Did you say you only got that today, Jim?
Yeah, this afternoon.
You might make a conditional, but legal takes a look at it.
So we will make that motion.
I move that we approve the request not to exceed 62,000, subject to legal's review of the documentation.
See 62.5.
62.5.
62,500.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anything else?
Got a plat for you to sign among all these other things.
Great, looks like you got something in there.
Good evening. One item, an agreement with NIHARTS to do the actuarial analysis of our other post-employment benefits. This is part of our annual reporting. It is a requirement by the state. This is a 2-year contract. It's in line with what we signed with them 2 years ago. Basically, the way it's set up, they do an in-depth study in year 1, and then they just update that study in year 2. That's the case that the state prescribes to us. Slightly increase over the prior agreement, which is 5%.
So we're in the second year.
This will be year 1 of this.
Questions for Greg? The motion to approve that. Service is NIHART.
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you, Greg.
I'll move that the approval of claims be presented approved.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Motion people paid. Nothing else to come before the board? Kai, did you have anything? Well, we'll stand adjourned at 6:13 PM. Thank you all.